Perspective changes everything. Our perspective may go through many life cycles as we age, and most of us don't have the same viewpoint about life as we did when we were 16. It changed when we were 25, and now that you're 40 or above, your perspective about life, relationships, commitment, and much more simply does not align with your past attitude about many things. Hi, and welcome to A Day at a Time with Belinda Payne, where we explore time, timing, and time management perspectives from an unconventional view. And these three T's apply to everything we do. I'm your host, Miss Belinda, and each week we take a conversational journey to help you gain more insight into managing your day. Perspective changes everything. You look in the mirror and say, "What happened to me?" You look at things quite differently now that you're the parent and not the child. You're paying the bills and punching the clock. And your perspective about money has flip-flopped totally to when it was you getting the allowance. And it's much easier, let's be honest, to give insight when we're standing on the sidelines watching others, and then we have a clear perspective of what's right or what's wrong in someone else's life, than having that same clear understanding or opinion when it comes to what's going on in your life. The way we regard a particular situation is based upon our ability to take multiple things into account. And that's why it's so important for us to know the facts and to develop an innate technique for processing the event or a situation fairly. Think about it. We all need a way or a technique that we can process what's going on around us, what's happening to us. And we need to be able to do that at a point or a rate because things are rapidly changing and coming at us, right? Every day we get up, we are faced with new challenges and changes. Something's been added, something's been deleted. And the news, it's got us going in all kinds of directions. But we need a way that we can process these events or situations fairly. And our perspective can either ignite or extinguish our possibilities for remaining whole, complete, successful. And if you're going to go through something, we're all going to go through challenging situations, right? And if you want to process your thoughts and your facts more objectively, I just want to give you 3 simple steps. I call them steps, y'all. So take note. I think these are 3 simple steps that will help you to be able to process things and help you get a better perspective so that you can adapt or change because things are changing. So number 1, you are going to step 1, do an assessment. Number 2, connect. And number 3, adjust. So I'll restate that in a better way. Let's say assess, connect, and then adjust. So what do we mean about assess? So number 1, ask yourself when you have something that you're facing and your perspective maybe it's not what you want it to be or what it needs to be. Ask yourself, how am I doing? How do I feel? Take some time to reflect on your circumstances and begin to summarize the facts. Begin to evaluate and to quantify or calculate the impact that these events are having on your mind and your body and your spirit. We cannot live on an island, and living in denial does not make things non-existent. The more we know, the more we can grow, and we can make better conscious or conscientious decisions. And I know this statement that I'm about to say may sound strange, but here's the statement. We need to get to know ourselves all over again. Say that one more time with me. Say it with me. Let's put it in the first person. I need to get to know myself all over again. What does that mean? It means stop basing things on what you needed or what you knew or what you believed when you were 10 years, 20 years younger. You're not 15. You're not 21. Maybe you are. You're not 35 or maybe 40. But the point is, as you age, as you mature, as your circumstances change, as the environment around you changes, our perspective has to change. So just like I tell myself, look in the mirror, Belinda, and ask yourself, what has changed about me? Belinda, what's changed about you? You've gone through different things over the last 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, and 1 year. And what is it about me that I need to change? I have to take an introspective look or an assessment about myself, my circumstances, my physiological health and well-being, my finances, my relationships, my age, my children's age, my grandchildren, all of that, my husband, all of that. I have to take all of this into perspective. So this is not a beat down exercise, but it's a pump me up moment for you. Assess how you are impacting people around you and how they are impacting your life. Yeah, so number one, assess. And number two, connect. Begin to connect the dots. Make a correlation between what has occurred and where you are versus where you want to be. Yeah, make a correlation and look at what has occurred and where you are as a result and where you want to be. What has happened to you? Are you in a good place right now? Maybe you are. Or maybe you're in a place and you don't want to be in that place anymore. You need that place to change. So what have these events taught you? Begin to connect those dots. And it's okay. Let me give you a sense of relief. It's okay to take time to reflect and make a full list. If you got to write it out of your lessons learned, it's not just a work thing, it's a personal thing. Make those negative lessons a positive lesson or a stepping stone and not a stumbling block. At least then you know what to do the next time. That's why it's important to look at life and do your own lessons learned. It's not just for projects at work. And when things are mounting up around you and it seems like life is just this big old blur because it's moving too fast, then take time to connect with yourself and your faith. Let me say that again. If you're feeling right now that life is mounting up and it seems like life is just a big blur because things are going so fast, take a moment, separate yourself, and connect with yourself and your faith. Your spiritual faith gives you inner power. My faith in God gives me power. My faith in Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit gives me power. And having a consistent prayer life, it's going to teach you to put people and your goals and your dreams in a new or different perspective as your circumstances constantly change. That's what it does for me. So when I pray, that helps me to continue to move forward. There are always times that we get stuck. We stand still. We don't know if to go to the left, to the right, go back, go forward. But when I pray, that's what God does for me. He helps me through my prayer life to give me a better perspective of my circumstances that are constantly revolving and moving. And you don't always need to abandon your course. This is a good point to stop or to stop right here and plug this in. You don't always need to abandon your course just because the course has changed. Sometimes you just simply need a new perspective or you need to add some new categories into your perspective so that you can put that experience into a new category. So arranging or rearranging some activities in your day, that can do wonders for you. Just because you've done it in the afternoon or the evening for the last 15 years, maybe you need to change that. Maybe you need to do it in the morning where you're more alert, when you're brighter, when you're more focused. It's little things like that can make all the difference in the world. And I'll give you one more free tip. Begin to evaluate your viewpoint, your perspective on things to determine if your actions still have a positive purpose in your life. Sometimes you're just doing it out of rote, you're doing it out of habit, or you're doing something out of tradition. So this is why you want to connect the dots. If you keep trying to connect a dot that doesn't belong anymore, then you got to say, you know what? I don't even know I'm doing this anymore. It doesn't even have a positive purpose in my life. And if it doesn't, guess what? Stop doing it. Number 3, adjust. Once you complete your assessment and then you connect the dots, it's going to give you greater clarity on what you may need to change or adjust. When we refuse to adjust, it's like the old adage of trying to make a square peg fit into a round hole. It just doesn't fit anymore. So it's okay, y'all. It's okay. Y'all hear me? It's okay to adjust. And now that you've taken this introspective look and you've assessed how you're doing, you've correlated these learning experiences, be patient with yourself, and you can experiment with making some adjustments. Build yourself up with those positive purposes and work to add even more of them in so that you can push out or negate the negative ones that keep trying to linger around and keep trying to hang on to you. You don't need that in your life. Yeah, it's okay to make some adjustments. And we all know that we're going to have trouble or challenges in our life. We're going to have unexpected occurrences. People are going to come in our lives. People are going to leave our lives. Jobs come and go. People come and go. But that doesn't mean that we cannot mitigate our risk to offset those things that seek to come against us or to destroy us. And you can do that by reframing your perspective or your viewpoint. Get a new frame. It's just like going out buying a new, you got some pictures in your house, do that. Hey, you know what? I just thought of that. Just as a symbolism, if you got pictures that you've had in the same frames for the last 10, 15 years, just go out and get all new frames. Reframe your pictures, the family photos. Hey, and then when you walk past that, let that be a way to help you remember, to reprogram you that, you know what? I can reframe this experience. I can adjust. I've adjusted. I used to keep only wooden frames, but now I'm going to go get some metal frames, or I'm going to get some clear glass frames. That's what I'm talking about. So be willing to take all these experiences into account and gently make modifications to regulate your activities or your attitude and fine tune that which is working so that you could optimize your opportunities for spiritual growth and development and healthy living. Yes, you can fine tune yourself by regulating, changing, and adjusting. And you want to optimize those opportunities, okay? This is a good way for you to continue to make all these changes. And yes, you really can move forward and recognize that perspective changes everything. Remember, we are all created to assess our conditions. We can connect the dots between the event and our feelings, and we can adjust to our ever-changing circumstances by making mild, moderate, or even major changes that bring us into a positive space. Our perspective is a life cycle that continues to change with our lifestyles. Yeah. So assess our conditions, connect the dots between the event and our feelings, and then adjust to our ever-changing circumstances by making mild, moderate, or major changes. All of that will bring us into that positive space that we want to be in with a positive perspective. Join me weekly for a positive experience, positive insights on a day at a time with Miss Belinda Payne. And subscribe and download this particular podcast and share the message with someone that you know needs to change their perspective.